Welcome back to Capital Catch-Up. I'm Victor.
And I'm Lenny. We have a significant slate of legislative activity to unpack today, ranging from critical infrastructure protection to a wave of procedural showdowns between the legislative and executive branches.
Exactly. And we're going to start right at the bottom of the ocean. We're looking at House Bill 261, the Undersea Cable Protection Act of 2025. Now, Lenny, for most Americans, the internet is just the cloud. But the reality is that 99% of international data traffic travels through physical cables on the ocean floor.
That's right, and this bill addresses a vulnerability that defense experts have been warning about for a decade. H.R. 261 isn't just about maintenance, it's about preventing foreign adversaries from tampering with the backbone of our digital economy. It dovetails with House Bill 3617, the Securing America's Critical Minerals Supply Act. Both of these are essentially supply chain independence bills.
The Critical Minerals Act is fascinating because it touches everything from your smartphone battery to the F-35 fighter jet. If we can't secure the supply chain for lithium and cobalt, the digital transition stalls. But moving from infrastructure to law enforcement, we also saw the introduction of House Bill 2189, the Law Enforcement Innovate to De-Escalate Act.
This is a really interesting bipartisan push. The goal here is to provide funding specifically for non-lethal technology and training. It's trying to solve a very difficult problem, reducing fatal encounters, through technological innovation rather than just policy mandates. It's a pragmatic approach that seems to be gathering support across the aisle.
Speaking of support, or the lack thereof, we need to talk about the flurry of disapproval resolutions we've seen this week. Listeners might hear terms like Senate Joint Resolution 103 or Senate Joint Resolution 107 and tune out, but these are actually the sound of Congress fighting back against federal agencies.
Right, we need to explain the mechanism here. These are filed under Chapter 8 of Title 5 United States Code, commonly known as the Congressional Review Act. It allows Congress to overturn rules made by federal agencies by a simple majority vote. Senate Joint Resolution 103 is specifically targeting a Department of Veterans Affairs rule regarding reproductive health services.
And Senate Joint Resolution 107 is doing the same thing for the IRS. This one challenges rules about clean electricity tax credits for wind and solar. What we are seeing here is the Senate GOP using the procedural tools available to them to check the administration's regulatory agenda.
And perhaps the most geopolitically significant one is Senate Joint Resolution 108. This provides for congressional disapproval of a proposed foreign military sale to Ukraine. This signals that the consensus on foreign aid is continuing to fracture. It's not just a budget line item anymore. It's a specific rejection of defense articles.
It's a clear signal. And on the House side, we have House Joint Resolution 72, which relates to a national emergency declared by the President on February 1, 2025. Whenever you see a joint resolution citing a national emergency date, it's usually Congress attempting to terminate that emergency declaration. It's a tug of war over executive power.
While the chambers battle over policy, the Senate has been moving personnel. We have a long list of nominations. Christopher T. Hansen has been reappointed to the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, which is crucial as nuclear energy re-enters the conversation for baseload power.
And a heavy focus on the State Department. We saw nominations for Christopher Carl and Wesley Brooks for Assistant Secretary positions, covering international organizations and oceans respectively. Also, William Long is up for Ambassador to Iceland. But Lenny, the nomination that might impact vacationers the most is Scott Socha to be Director of the National Park Service.
Absolutely. The NPS has a massive maintenance backlog, so that confirmation hearing will likely focus on budget and infrastructure. Changing gears to the committee schedule, if you follow Veterans Affairs, this upcoming week is the Super Bowl of advocacy.
It really is. We have joint hearings lined up for the legislative presentations of the major veteran service organizations, or VSOs. The American Legion, the VFW, Disabled American Veterans, they are all testifying before joint sessions of the House and Senate Veterans Affairs Committees.
This is an annual tradition, but looking at the docket, specific bills are getting marked up too. House Bill 6047, the Sherry Braley and Eric Edmondson Veterans Benefits Expansion Act of 2026 is on the table. Also House Bill 3726, the Fisher House Availability Act. Fisher houses provide lodging for military families during medical crises, so expanding that availability is usually a slam-dunk bipartisan win.
However, there is a dark cloud on the committee horizon. On February 11th, there is an oversight hearing titled Potential DHS Shutdown Impacts.
That is the one to circle on your calendar. Whenever you see a hearing about shutdown impacts, it means appropriations negotiations are stalling. The Department of Homeland Security funding is often a flashpoint because it ties into border policy and immigration enforcement.
Before we wrap up, we have to mention a few resolutions that range from the celebratory to the somber. First, Senate Resolution 610.
Congratulations are in order for the Pacific Northwest. The Senate officially congratulated the Seattle Seahawks for winning Super Bowl XL.
And in a moment of Senate whimsy, we have Senate Resolution 611, Lenny, I'll let you take this one.
This authorizes the use of the Hart Senate Overbuilding Atrium for the bipartisan Doggi Gras parade. That is spelled Pawrade. It's scheduled for February 25, 2026. It's good to know that amidst the partisan gridlock, everyone can agree on dogs and costumes.
We certainly need levity. But the Senate also passed Senate Resolution 608, a strong message regarding the Ghislaine Maxwell case.
Yes, this expresses the sense of the Senate that she should not be granted any form of presidential pardon or clemency. It's a non-binding resolution, but it puts every senator on the record condemning the sexual exploitation of minors and ensuring accountability remains firm.
And finally, Senate Resolution 607 honors the victims of the attack at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, marking the anniversary of that tragedy. A somber reminder of why so many of these debates we discuss about safety, mental health, and policy actually matter.
So, what should listeners watch for in the coming days? Keep your eyes on that DHS shutdown hearing. If the rhetoric gets heated there, we could be looking at a funding gap.
And watch the vote count on Senate Joint Resolution 108 regarding Ukraine sales. Even if it doesn't pass, the margin of the vote will tell us a lot about the current appetite for foreign intervention.
We'll be tracking the congressional record, specifically volumes 172, numbers 26 through 30, to see how those votes shake out. Thanks for listening to Capital Catch-Up.
See you next time.